We're going now to give the floor to Marco Segone. He is the Director of the Evaluation Office at the United Nations Population Fund. He was previously the Director of the Evaluation Office at UN Women and Chair of the United Nations Evaluation Group. So I'm going to give him the floor. Thank you very much, Marco, for being here with us today.
Assalamu alaikum, ni hao, buenos dias, bon dia, guten tag, buongiorno, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody. It's really a big pleasure to be here with you today. And really thanks a lot to EvalYouth for organizing this wonderful second virtual conference. And, you know, as a member of the United Nations, I would like to state up front that we are here really super happy to support the great job that EvalYouth is doing. Today I have only three key, simple but bold messages for you. The first one is that we are living in an exceptional times. If you think, you know, at global level, we are experiencing the rebalancing of the global power. So we are experiencing a situation, an historic situation, where the global power is shifting from the West, led by the US and Europe, to the East, led by China and India. We are also experiencing a global movement to fight climate change. And also, for the first time, we got 195 head of states, leaders of international NGOs, and leaders of the private sectors and university and academia, joining together and committing for the Sustainable Development Goals. And just to remind that the Sustainable Development Goals are really transformational. Why? Because they are universal, so they are for all countries in the world. The old Millennium Development Goals were mainly for the Global South. The Sustainable Development Goals are for all countries. And I would say, with the lens of the Sustainable Development Goals, all countries are developing countries. No one country on earth has achieved gender equality. No one country in earth has achieved as perfect equality, not only in terms of gender, but in terms of also social and income disparities. And also the Sustainable Development Goals comes with a very strong call for no one left behind. So it's not only that we have the Sustainable Development Goals number 5 on gender equality and number 10 on decreasing inequality within and among countries, but the principle of the no one left behind is mainstream in all the Sustainable Development Goals. So really exceptional times at global level, but also exceptional times in the global evaluation community. This rebalancing of power is existing also in the evaluation community. If 10 years ago somebody asked me where the strongest national evaluation systems are, the answer would have been in the global north. Would it be in the US, Canada, UK, etc. Today the answer is in the global south. It is in Chile, in Colombia, in Mexico, in South Africa, in Sri Lanka, in Malaysia, etc., etc. If 10 years ago somebody was asking me where are the strongest evaluation associations, well, once again, the answer would have been in the global north. Today, out of the more than 150 evaluation associations existing in the world, the big majority are in the global south. In addition, the Sustainable Development Goals also came with a clear commitment to review, follow up, and evaluate the efforts and the results that are being achieved or not in the different countries. And last but not least, the global evaluation community now is organized around Eval Partners. That is the global multi-stakeholder partnership for evaluation and for evidence-based policy making. So very good news. We are living really in these exceptional times. However, this brings me to the second key message. And the second key message is that we have an unfinished business. Unfortunately, at global level, poverty still strives. Hundreds of billions of people are still malnourished. Violence against women, but also violence in general, is still rife. And unfortunately, many countries are still suffering war. In addition, we are seeing a clear trend in each and every country in the world of an increasing inequality between those who have and those who do not have, between those who can and those who cannot. But we also have unfinished business in terms of evaluation. We have more and more methodological challenges. We are more and more talking about complexity, and therefore really the challenge of evaluate this complexity. We're talking about how to get to leverage the new technologies, but also we are talking about how to make sure that in our evaluation practices we make sure that no one is left behind. But also political challenges. More and more in the world of the fake news, the idea of using evidence for taking decision is really weakening. And also, sometimes we see stakeholders really challenging the value added of evaluation. But this brings me to the third key message. And the third key message is the most important, and it is that you can be the change. If you think, we are talking about young evaluators, if you think about these two words, young, I always say, is the power of the 1.8 billions, because this is the number of young people that are currently living in our world. And evaluators are expected to be agents of change. So we're talking about potentially 1.8 billions of young evaluators who can be an agent of change. So what's my advice to you as young evaluators? Two things. First of all, try to be as professional as possible. Try to strengthen your capacities, technical, methodological capacities as much as possible. This is needed, but is not sufficient. The second advice is that you need passion and commitment to the profession. The world does not need more and additional bureaucrats. You have to see evaluation as a mission. You have to focus on your values, on the values of human rights and gender equality, on the values of social justice. My experience is that I've been working for the United Nations for quite a while now, and my experience is that the United Nations and the global development community wants passionate people. Myself, I started my career as a poor volunteer in Pakistan and Bangladesh, in the most remote villages, and there was really poor volunteers. Nobody was paying me. I was paying myself the air tickets to go to those countries and to help as much as I could the people in those countries. So in summary, the three key messages. First, we are living in an exceptional times of structural changes, both in the global politics as well in the global evaluation community. Second is that unfortunately there is still a lot of unfinished business, both, once again, in the global community as well as in the evaluation community. And the third is really a plea for you to be an activist. Please join EvalYouth, the global, the regional, or the country EvalYouth chapter. And if there is no EvalYouth chapter existing in your region or your countries, just create one. But that's not enough. Join the youth movement. The big risk is that we evaluators, we will remain isolated in our silos of evaluators. We must try to reach out. We must try to reach out either parliamentarians, policymakers, and in your case, you are the best position to reach out the global youth movement for peace, for global development, and for the sustainable development goals. And ask yourself, are you looking only for a well-paid profession? If the answer is yes, my suggestion would be forget about evaluation. My suggestion would be go and work, for the multinational companies, go and work for the global financial institution and banks, because that's where you will get the money. But if you are looking for a profession that can change the world, then my advice is remain and continue to strengthen your evaluation capacities. Because the world needs young evaluators who want to make it a better place to live for everyone, regardless of the gender, of the race, religion, color, income, place where you live, etc. So my plea to you is really to see you not as a mere technical, professional person that is needed but is not sufficient, but as an activist who can change the world through evaluation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marco. We have a few questions for you. The first one says, thanks for the great 3 points, Marco. Is there a strategy in place for senior, junior evaluators in teams to advance the practice of evaluation creatively, conduct analysis, advocate, communicate, and ensure knowledge transfer? The second question asks how can evaluators have a powerful voice and good connection with governments to have presence? I'm going to give you back the floor. If you need me to repeat the questions, please let me know and I'll take it back.
Yeah, thanks a lot. If there is a strategy to advance all of this, to me the best strategy is really to join together forces with those who are already committed, and that would be, the colleagues from evaluation associations, the colleagues from other EvalYouth chapters, etc., but also those who need to be converted. So Eval partners already develop handbooks and guidelines, etc., on how to advocate for evaluations in different countries. That was developed back in 2015 during the International Year of Evaluation. So just go back to those tools that could be very helpful. But once again, my suggestion is do not wait for somebody else to come and to try to advance all this discourse, but do the ones who is going to lead this discourse. But the key tips is don't try to do it alone, because that is very unlikely that it will work. You can do it only if you join others in your own country, region, to try to make these changes. The second question on how to approach government. My experience has always been that the evaluation associations can play a key role for this. The evaluation associations are seen, generally speaking, as a neutral broker, and is really the forum where evaluators from different backgrounds, from civil society, from academia, from the UN agencies, and from governments, they come together to share experiences, point of view, perspective, and practices, and really to move forward in strengthening national evaluation system and policies. And we have very practical examples. I mean, I see we have colleagues from Sri Lanka online. Sri Lanka is one of those examples where the evaluation associations have been absolutely key in making sure, in bridging the gap, and in making sure that civil society has worked together with the government and the UN, etc., to really strengthen the evaluation function in the government, and also including obviously parliamentarians. So my suggestion is really, once again, don't try to approach the government alone, but really do it through the channel of your own evaluation association.